Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar of SMAR Insights, Innovations, and Creative Testing. SMAR Insights is a Platinum TTRA partner, and we appreciate their continued support. Before we get started with today's webinar, I want to remind everyone that you have to be muted and that we will be recording the session. Once the presentation has concluded, our presenter will be happy to answer any questions. So please type your questions into the chat feature and we will check them once the presentation has been completed. So let me introduce Stephanie Pace Brown. Stephanie is an Executive Vice President of SMAR Insights. Stephanie started her career in economic and marketing research with the Ohio Office of Tourism in Colonial Williamsburg. Data-driven decisions were the foundation of her work as Vice President of Public Affairs for Mount Vernon and as the CEO of two destination organizations, Alexandria, Virginia, and Asheville, North Carolina. Stephanie has gained a deep appreciation of the multifaceted tourism industry and has served on the boards of the U.S. Travel Association, Destinations International, and as a chair of the Destinations International Foundation. She has assumed state leadership roles in the North Carolina Travel and Tourism Board, the North Carolina Travel and Tourism Coalition, and the North Carolina Travel Industry Association. Now I will turn the webinar over to Stephanie.
Thanks very much, Stacy. Hi, everybody. It's so great to be with you all today. Thank you for taking a little time out of your busy schedule to join us. I'm going to share my screen and we are, let's see, shared. So we have to narrate while we're doing this, right? And we're going to go full screen. So we're talking about creative testing today. And this has been, throughout my career, one of my favorite applications of tourism research. I joined the SMARI team about 1.5 years ago. So I'm the newest member, but I go way back with the SMARI Insights team, having been my go-to research company in all of my previous roles. Both as a research director myself, and then as a marketing director, and then finally as a CEO. So it's been really fun to wear this hat and to work with destinations around the country on some of the same topics that were challenges to me throughout my career. So I've been in your shoes, and it's a real pleasure now to work with so many of you. For those of you who aren't very familiar with SMARI Insights, the company was founded by Dr. David Seifert in 1983 with a partner. And this was after David led the research department at an Indianapolis advertising agency. And soon after that, he was joined by Denise Miller, who had led 2 CVBs and was the state tourism director for Indiana. And so tourism and advertising really have been at the roots of SMARI since its founding in 1983. So many of you know us by SMARI. We became SMARI Insights in 2015 when David and his partner separated the company, and David's team continued to focus on destination marketing and advertising research. We're a full service custom market research firm. So all of our services are in-house, including programming and data collection. And that can be really important when we're doing creative testing, because often that's the kind of research that needs a really quick turnaround, and we control all of those processes. I'm the newest member of the SMARI Insights team. Here is the rest of our group. I'm sure you know many of us, including Andrea and Nick, who are also analysts, and the rest of the support team. But I am not going to be the newest person for very much longer. We're getting ready to welcome a new team member, and I think many of you know Jordan Musil, who will be a research analyst with our team. He has been with the Hamilton County Tourism for almost 8 years and has been the data intelligence manager there. David likes to say that SMARI Insights hires our most difficult clients and Jordan is definitely breaking that trend that Denise and I established, because he's always a real pleasure to work with. And I'm sure those of you who know him will understand why I'm saying that. So, so on to the reason that you joined us today. So what comes to mind when you think about creative testing? I think probably the first thing that's popping into your mind is focus groups. They've really become synonymous with creative testing. And, we think that focus groups still play a really important role for creative testing and tourism research in general. But there are many different tools in the toolkit that can be applied depending on the stage of the creative development and the focus of the research. So quantitative is really, in the form of an online survey, is really the best approach when you need projectable results and when you want to control groups, either markets geographically or by segment, and you want to see how different kinds of people are reacting, and to identify the best responders and be able to project to populations. But qualitative can either enhance the quantitative work or it can stand alone. And, we love qualitative for adding human emotional insights and context to quantitative findings, or for probing, evaluating, and seeking to understand the issues better. But in general, creative testing, works best when we're trying to solve a problem or get a consumer perspective. And that makes your advertising better. I know, in being in roles of, developing advertising, there are always those things that in the creative process, the team just sees differently. And, if there are differences of opinions on the creative team or the marketing staff, then consumers will see those things differently too. And so, you can see here some of the things that we have applied creative testing to better understand, including, some really isolated issues like the color palettes, logos. We recently, I think many of you probably saw Chelsea's webinar on the development of the Los Angeles new logo that we helped to support through creative testing. Music, I'm going to share a little case study of evaluating some music choices for a spot. Sometimes it's just, when you're starting with a brand message or the text that will create the foundation of the development of a spot, that's a really great time to understand what words and phrases are resonating and what others, might be missing the mark. I found that the asking consumers to rate a variety of images can give a lot of insight. We're so close to our product as destination marketers. And when we look at a photograph, we're bringing all of our own experiences to that and, an understanding of what it is and what it feels like to be in that moment. And our consumers are not bringing those same set of experiences to images. And so testing photography and images can be really very valuable at understanding what helps to motivate visitation to the destination. We've tested fonts most recently as part of the LA logo development. And, creative testing can be done really at any stage of creative development, whether it's storyboards or just text or finished ads. I think, a lot of people are reluctant to engage in creative testing, especially the creative team, because the feeling is that, research takes a long time and, and we can really turn around insights quickly enough to, help aid and during whatever stage of development the creative is in. So I wanted to start with this little case study. I'm not going to say which destination it is, but it's a state in a place that gets snow. We tested a concept of using a song to serve as a key element of new advertising. And they had a finished video but wanted to evaluate possible options for music. In the survey, we did a survey with 1,000 respondents so that we could compare responses by these markets. So the research was focused on testing the concept of using the song to serve as the key elements. And so in order to do that, consumers were presented with 3 videos, and the video content remained the same as a control, but the music was different in the different versions. And the 4 options were tested, and the order of viewing was rotated to avoid bias. And you can see here by the bar chart that one of those options that's labeled sunny here was driving more negative responses from consumers than the other options were. We also looked at each option to understand how well each of them fit the image of the state based on the imagery of the ad, the feeling that was conveyed in the advertising, and the music. And again, we saw that one of the options did a better job of conveying those feelings than did the other new option. And then you're seeing here the wow with voiceover and without voiceover was the execution that had been in the market. And again, we see that, you know, the imagery was the same throughout each of the options and all tested very well. And we see that one of the new options was lower rated than the other new option. And then the chart on the right shows how well the video communicated the feelings that the state wanted to associate with its image: happiness, playfulness, freedom, optimism, etc. And we indexed the scores to the average, including the existing finished video. So we could see that the new option, one of the new options, was less effective than the other at conveying the goal feelings that the spot was striving to achieve. And in the final evaluation, consumers rated the video and music combinations in relationship to how the videos impacted their image of the state. The ratings for Sunny were generally lower than the existing creative, except for a place where I feel free to express myself. And the ratings for the alternative, The Sound of Sunshine, were generally on par or slightly higher than the existing creative. So these findings indicated that the right song can support an ad campaign that's stronger than the existing creative. And it's really an example of how you can isolate one aspect of the advertising and find insights that make the overall effectiveness of the campaign much better. Open-ended questions also help to, in quantitative surveying for creative testing, can provide some really good insights on sort of a qualitative basis to supplement the quantitative findings. So I want to share with you a quantitative tool that we use to look at scenes for advertising imagery. And we can use this to identify which parts of a video are performing really well and generating positive responses, and also help to identify any scenes that are contributing less or may be perceived more negatively by consumers. And this is a tool that is integrated into our survey platform. And this is the way that it looks in the survey for respondents. And so, you know, it's included in a survey so that we're gathering all of the other perceptions to, you know, be able to analyze the moment-to-moment results in context. And so you can see here that the video is presented and there's a play button when the respondent has read the instructions and feels comfortable that they know how to use the tool. And there's a slider bar at the bottom. And so during the course of viewing the video, the respondent moves the slider bar to the right to indicate a positive reaction and to the left to indicate a more negative reaction. And so we recently used this tool as part of a creative testing program for Hawaii. Very, very successful campaign that generated very, very positive consumer reaction. And I want to show you how the moment-to-moment testing results help to identify the few scenes in this video that were perceived less positively than others, and then that will help to inform future versions of the creative. And so what you're going to see is a combination of 4 30-second spots that we combined to present to respondents, and they used this tool as they were viewing the video to record their reactions. And so I'm going to play this for you, and it'll take about 2 minutes, but you're going to see a white line emerge over the course of the video, and that will indicate the consumer reactions.
Malamaaina, to care for the land is an engagement between people and place. When we all malama, there's nothing we can't change.
Very positive reactions to natural beauty, water, beautiful imagery.
Learn how you can malama Hawaii at gohawaii.com/malama.
Malama is to cherish and protect the reefs, the fish, the birds, the winds, and the land. Giving back, that's something that lasts generations.
Learn how you can malama Hawaii at gohawaii.com/malama. Malamaaina is restoring the native forests. Reforestation is a wonderful way to give back to a place. Learn how you can malama Hawaii at gohawaii.com/malama.
The word malama translates to taking care. We malama the land that feeds us. All of that energy that's being put in the ground gets transferred into food. It allows us as a people to thrive as well.
Learn how you can malama Hawaii at gohawaii.com/malama.
So this tool did a really great job at identifying that the less positive aspects of this video were things that were in the dirt, in the mud, anything that had, kind of a slimy texture. And although the spot performs very well and generated very positive ratings overall, these insights can help in the future iterations of the campaign development. And, one of the things that, is a real strength in using quantitative methods and an online survey to evaluate creative is the ability to, isolate and look at groups of consumers. And, we have the quantities of respondents in an online survey that helps us, slice and dice the data. And in this particular research project, a segmentation strategy was included in the survey, and then a factor analysis helped to, group these attributes and identify segments of consumers. And so in this case, for Hawaii, the segments were sustainers, relaxers, indulgers, and engagers. And, we could see what motivated these groups and, which attributes grouped together so that we could classify the respondents. And, it's a key goal of the campaign to emphasize sustainable practices and to attract visitors who will support the cultural values of the people who live in Hawaii. And so, sustainers were the people who most closely identified with and valued volunteer opportunities, the ability to give something back, They value a destination that practices sustainability. They want to personally connect with locals, and having outdoor experiences was also related to this segment. By contrast, the relaxers are the more traditional visitor who, is more, beach and relaxation and luxury oriented, and so forth. And so engagers were sort of, the close cousin to sustainers who were also interested in the same kind of types of activities, but were more motivated by exploring new things and cultural experiences. So we took these segments and then applied them through the moment-to-moment testing in the same way, so that we could see, how each of these different segments responded to the video. And I'm going to play that for you now. We're not going to watch the whole thing again, but I want you to see how these different psychographic groups react to the video.
Malama Aina, to care for the land is an engagement between people and place. When we all malama, there's nothing we can't change.
Learn how you can Malama Hawaii at gohawaii.com/malama.
Malama is to cherish and protect the reefs, the fish, the birds, the winds, and the land. Giving back, that's something that.
So we thought it was very interesting that, this campaign was really designed primarily to, motivate this group of sustainability-minded travelers. And you can see with the white line that people who were grouped into that segment gave extraordinarily high ratings throughout. And these scenes depicting volunteerism and a special connection with the culture of the state, you can see how highly rated every scene of the video was for those folks. And the others, kind of, even though they had overall very high ratings, we could see more variation in their reactions. So that's moment by moment testing. I think as a marketer, and in the creative development, it can give you really terrific insights for those things that many of us struggle with in the development of a campaign. And I'm going to switch gears a little bit to a qualitative tool that we've been using quite a bit, called on-demand video surveys. And then we'll talk briefly about virtual focus groups before I wrap up and take your questions. So this is a tool that we have integrated into our survey technology. And so we can kind of combine the best of both worlds for quantitative and qualitative. We can collect a lot of quantitative data and then apply it and use that data to select the consumers that we would like to interview by video and get the best of all of the qualities that we look for in focus groups to really illuminate human emotional responses. And, this was something that when I joined the team, I thought, wow, it would be very exciting for us to, be able to have all of the benefits of quantitative, where, we're able to project results and apply segmentation and look at markets by markets and all of the things that, you really have to have quantity for. But in my role as a marketer and as a research director in different organizations, I knew that qualitative is really what can be impactful with your stakeholders. And, having data that shows a certain result is only really enhanced by being able to show people who are speaking for themselves and really helping to clarify, what those numbers mean. And so We rolled this tool out several months ago, and it can be either integrated within the quantitative, or we most typically ask in the quant, we'll do a recruit and ask people if they would be willing to participate in a video survey as a follow-up. And then we can kind of prioritize who's most important to talk to and send them a survey invitation, usually with an incentive to get them to participate in the follow-on survey. So like I said, we can apply the quantitative data and we can pull it through into the video platform. And so that way, you know, we can segregate different segments and look at them individually. And in the case of Hawaii, we did the segmentation in the quant and then applied that to follow-up video interviews. And then we can look at how each one of those different segments responded differently, and we can provide video clips to help stakeholders understand the personas and the different reactions of those different groups. This video platform automatically transcribes all of the video, which is enormously helpful, and it also supports 27 languages. And if the study is conducted with foreign language respondents, it can also generate captions in English, or in the native language of the speaker. And we also can easily create show reels that have labels and captions and graphics that help to support the final presentation of the results, or help to just, give access to the creative team and the marketing team to really be able to use this tool. So like I said, it's integrated into our quantitative platform. And this is what it looks like. It's served, as a questionnaire. And it doesn't have to be downloaded into a special app. Some, earlier generations of this kind of approach at doing video surveys would require the participant to download a special app, and that was just really a big barrier to participation. And so, we've found that by doing a follow-on effort to get the video survey, people are, prepared. They know that they need to be well lit and have their audio on, and be in a quiet place where they can focus. And so we've been able to get some really terrific content. And so when they're ready, they press the arrow, and they're presented with the video recorder. And then they click on record video, answer whatever the question is. And since it's on our quantitative platform, we can present video, present printed ads, present actually, we can do it like a focus group and present the questions in video form if that is the most effective way at pursuing the research. And so the respondent will respond usually to 4 or 5 different questions, and they'll record those each individually. And then those are loaded into the video platform, and they appear in all of these individual videos for each respondent. And then you can, our clients can log into the platform and view them all individually, or we can provide transcripts and summary reels. And so this, when we click on a respondent, we can watch that video individually. We can read and edit a transcript, and we can identify, whether this is downloaded for use in a clip or a show reel. You can see here filters. This says relaxers, that's the segment, and then East is the market, but we can bring in other variables. And so then, as you're looking at the resulting video clips, we can sort by the segment or whatever the criteria is, the age, the market, the gender, the race, et cetera. And so we also then have a transcript that's in Excel format that can be used to read all of the content, and then highlight anything that you would like to put into a demo reel. And so I'm going to show you a sample demo reel. This actually comes from a study that we did for Visit SlowCal to explore equity and diversity and inclusion issues among underrepresented audiences. And this is a little clip of some of the video that was collected.
I think if a place is not that diverse, there's a lot of different things they can do. I think from understanding that people have different preferences, different ways of doing things, but ultimately, part of the thing about traveling to different places is understanding, what different cultures that they might have, and, having the opportunity to adapt or learn and see those things firsthand. So I think that's part of the excitement for them to not really do anything and for you to go out there and, explore.
If a place is not diverse, it's not much they can do to make me feel welcome, but to treat me the way they treat everyone else. Maybe with a smile, or maybe ask me if they can help me with anything that I need help with, but just basically just treat me however they treat everyone else.
If a place is not diverse, I don't really pay attention to that. It's not very important to me, so nothing would make me feel more welcome as long as people are kind and honest. That helps my trip a lot.
Okay, so if it's not diverse, I guess that would just be friendly people in the places I'm visiting. That's kind of hard to define for me. Maybe if
So I really love this tool for a number of the strengths that it provides. One is that the respondent is participating on their own schedule. And, we send them a link and when it's convenient to them. And so we're really getting very thoughtful responses. And, it also doesn't have the influences of a moderator or the rest of the group that can, a skilled moderator controls for all of these issues in a focus group. But in this case, the respondent is reading the question and, telling us how they feel or how they're reacting to whatever the question is. They can, play video and ads and respond in their own time. And I also love, that we're really seeing these people in their own environments. And I think that helps us to kind of understand contextually a little bit more. And so as we compile show reels, it just really speaks volumes and provides insights that I think are kind of new and different than other tools that have been available. Virtual focus groups have also been sort of the outcome of COVID that is here to stay. We've done a lot of online virtual focus groups, and they're really the best tool for exploring, probing, and seeking clarification. With the on-demand video interviews are a good tool when you really know what you want to ask, but a focus group is still a great option for exploring and using a skilled moderator to really delve and probe. And it gives consumers a seat at the table. It gives voice to the reactions of your consumers, whether it's before a quantitative to shape and inform a questionnaire, or after quantitative to help clarify and illuminate different issues, or as a standalone. And of course, benefits of virtual groups versus the way they had been done in person. It's extremely efficient from a time perspective, both for us and most importantly for our clients. You can get geographic diversity. We can talk to people across the country or in different regions, and be able to represent different cities in one group. Similarly to the on-demand video surveys, we're seeing people in their native habitat. And that is fascinating, sometimes a little amusing with, people who need to be reminded to not be in their bedroom or smoking or, doing all of those human things that people do. And we also get really good quality recordings that can be used for reports and sharing with other stakeholders or other team members. Here we're seeing the Zoom format that we're all very familiar with. Typically, we're recording in both formats, both in the gallery mode and in the speaker mode. And so this is really beneficial sometimes for creating a summary video of highlights. It's a great tool for being able to show the advertising in a way that's easy for participants to see and then to react to, whether it's video or it's print. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go to any questions that you have. So are there any questions? If you have any, you can post them in the chat. Let's see. What is your opinion of using chat focus groups versus video virtual focus groups? Oh, we've had great success with chat groups. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, it's using a chat room to kind of have a serial conversation over a period of time. And so, it kind of combines some advantages of these different tools because it has, the continuum of being able to pose different questions based on, the answers that you're getting, to probe and, kind of delve into different issues. And it's over time, but the respondent is not video recorded. And so, I think that both of them are excellent tools depending on, the needs of the project. So thanks, Heidi, for that question. Are there any other questions? So I have a question for all of you. As a member of the Marketing Outlook Forum Committee, I'm curious to know who's going to Marketing Outlook Forum that's been rescheduled for February in Bethesda. And so if you would, while we're talking, just throw into the chat whether you're going or not, we would love to know. So Carrie says, thank you, great information. The segmentation on the Hawaii video study is really interesting. Were there sample sizes similar for each of the segments? No, the segments were not all of the same size. But there was adequate sample size to support the analysis of each one of them. And most importantly, though, the sample size for the study overall was adequate enough to be able to do the factor analysis and create the segments in the first place. And so I think the sample size for that study was 1,400. So does everybody know that there is a prize if you register for MOF before December 16th? You can be entered to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. So that's the end of my MOF commercial. And I'm glad we'll see folks from Virginia there. You'll get to see the whole SMARI Insights analyst team there, and we're looking forward to going. So are there any other questions? I'll tell you, it's been really great to see and be able to use so many of these tools. This is kind of a sampling of the ones that, that we have implemented recently. And, when I look back at the development of creative and advertising that I've been involved in, we have been very, very focused on the advertising effectiveness and evaluation of campaigns that are finished. SMARI Insights does a lot of ROI and ad effectiveness studies, and those are really important for accountability and also for kind of the forward-looking view of how advertising can be improved over time. And also projecting the results and calculating the resulting visitation, the impacts on the image of the destination and the visitor spending. But, more seldom do we take time as marketers to, in the creative process, to include the consumer reactions to these elements of music and colors and the images that are part of the advertising. And, we find that it's really helpful. My creative teams, we would always have different views of really what the best images were to include and, how consumers would perceive them. And until we do the research, we don't know. So I hope that that this has been, Deanne says she'll be there. Great. We're looking forward to seeing you. Yes, Eugene is asking if we use trip motivation questions. For trip motivation, we look at what we ask people to, rate the importance of different aspects of what they would do on vacation. And then we'll use advanced statistics to kind of identify the ones that are the most motivational, and then can also use that to support the segmentation. That's been very interesting. Deanne wants us to, can we tell everyone on here that TTRA has a listserv dedicated to research directors and staff? Absolutely. You don't have to be a member of MOF to be a member. So reach out to Deanne if you want to be included on that listserv. So I don't see any other questions for me. Oh, there's one more. Send your contact information to Deanne. So I think that wraps up our presentation for today. I'll welcome Stacy back. So.
Hello. Thank you all for attending. We will be sending out this recording following reviewing it and getting it all edited. I guess if you have any more questions, is there a way for them to contact you following this, or?
Yep, absolutely. We can find us through our website, smariinsights.com, or email me at sbrown@smariinsights.com. And thanks again, everybody, for tuning in today.
Wonderful. I hope everyone has a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.